Proverbs chapter 14, verses 1 through 11. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. He that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. In the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve them. Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not, but knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth. Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. The heart knoweth his own bitterness, and the stranger doth not intermeddle with his joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this passage. Thank you for the opportunity to consider the importance of wise women that build their house. Lord, I pray you'll help us understand this important truth on how the house is built by the woman. Lord, I pray you'll help us understand this truth. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, you may be seated. Well, what a privilege it is for all the ladies to be able to hear a ladies' message tonight. All right. So it is a blessing that the Proverbs, they do have messages for particularly Solomon's son. That's where it's geared to a father to his son, admonishing his father and such like that. But also he doesn't neglect to give advice for the woman, for the girls, for the ladies as well. And I feel like, and this, of course, every proverb can be taken in multiple ways, and it can be applied to anybody, whether you're a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, an old man or an old lady, married or single. Any verse, any passage can be applied that way. But oftentimes there's an overarching theme, and in general, the chapters start with that theme. And here in this passage is no different. We have every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Well, Pastor John, you say the rest of the verses say he. Well, he. Well, who do women build the house with? A man, right? And so the important thing here that we see here is that every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. And what this pluck means here, if you notice that word here, pluck, it's a transitive verb. It means to pull with sudden force or effort, or to pull off, out, or from with a twitch. Thus we say to pluck feathers from a fowl, to pluck hair or wool from the skin, to pluck grapes or other fruit. See how you pluck it? Just like, ooh, I want that. Who is familiar with the when you first see something shiny, you see something you really like, and your first instinct is to grab it. Ooh, I want that. You ever, like Black Friday, what do? Oh, I want the last doll. I want the last gift. I want the last, what are you doing? You're plucking, you're grabbing at, you're going after. Now, it just kind of reminds me of how the 49ers back in the day when the gold rush was happening, or back when the land grab was happening, when everybody was giving out free land and there was like a race to get land. Like you would go to a certain county and they would have land plots all plotted out, and it was free land if you could build on it. And what they would do is they would have a starting line, and then everybody, you see this in the movies where everybody in there with their horses and with their carts were lined up, and then they rushed to get the land that they wanted. Now, most of the people had pre-surveyed the land, but 9 or 10 other families wanted that section or that piece, so they would go after it. They grab for it. Run after it, race after it. And that's kind of similar to what plucketh means. It means that the woman who is foolishly goes after any old guy out there. Oh, I want that one. Oh, I want that one. I want that one. They're drawn to something about that man, and they want to instantly make him the boyfriend, or make or to have them as their husband, or whatever it is, and they really want to go after that one. They're going to pluck it because they see something that they really like and instantly go after it. But what this verse means here is that the wise woman who's building her house, her first instinct is not to go after a husband, but she looks to what type of household she wants to have growing up, because that is her realm. That is her rule. The man is big and tough, and he's going to go out there and adventure and grab the world by the horns. But the virtuous woman, she has a realm that she is building, strategically building. You ever see those girls that they have the perfect wedding? They have no idea who they're going to marry, but they know what their wedding is going to be. And they're going to look for a guy who's going to give them that wedding. It's like a Disney princess. She knows how she's going to live. She knows she got her Prince Charming out there she wants, and she wants somebody who's just like Prince Charming or somebody like that, that she's desiring. She had planned her whole life from a little child to have a certain thing when she grew up. She didn't know who that person was, but she knew she wanted certain traits in that person to make her life what she really wants it to be. And that is kind of the desire that the scripture is talking about here, is that a wise woman buildeth her house. You know how your house is to be, or you want your house to be, and then you're going to go out there and search for a man that will be in line with your idea of what a house should be. We're going to have 8.5 kids or 2.1 kids, or we're going to have a yacht. Whatever that vision is, that's the type of person you're going to go out and get. And then you're going to have, a virtuous woman is going to have certain traits she's going to be looking for in that ideal man. She's not just going to go out there and grab the first pretty thing she sees, or the richest thing she sees, or anything. She's going to have certain traits that will go with her house. You ever, like you ladies, sometimes like to have accessories? You have the matching handbag and the matching shoes and the matching outfit and all these different things. Not everybody likes that, but a lot of people do. Like they want to have an outfit that looks good. When my wife sees me wearing something that doesn't go well together, she's going to tell me. You see what I'm saying is that she knows what goes together. And the scripture verse is saying that is actually a good thing. Just as you would build an outfit, just as you would see your husband say, you're not going out in that, or a husband or a wife or a parent would say to their child, you're not going out in that outfit, that does not model what we as a family want to portray. So the wise woman, she's going to be building her house, and while, of course, as Christians, we say you shouldn't divorce, you got to be careful with the person you marry because you're going to be with them for a lifetime and all those different things and such. And then, people say, well, we don't want her to be stuck with a bad man, right? Well, that's why you check beforehand. That's why, especially in the olden time days, that even though that the father, when there's arranged marriages, even though the father and the mother would pick the child, their ideal man, to ideally make this a good marriage, they would look for the virtues in the man, because the girl is all swooning, oh, this is such a beautiful idea of a man, and I just love him, even though he's garbage. The husband and the wife, they can say, hey, no, dear, this man is awful. We're not going to have him as your new husband, and you need to look for these traits in a man. And so that is what is, but though the man and the father and the mother, they're going to respect oftentimes the wishes of the bride to be, right? That they're not going to force her into this marriage, but they're going to help her find the ideal man. And so this chapter here is showing the ideal man that you want to build your house with. You got one chance to get this right, and if you don't get that one chance to get this right, then you'll have to have 3 or 4 chances that probably won't work out either. A lot of people, if they mess up on their first marriage, they usually have more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 trying to get it right, because they never can get it right. And this verse is saying, hey, you want to get it right the first time. Now, of course, there's exceptions to every rule, but here, this chapter says, this is what you need to look for who will help you build your house. Now, you can look for all the other traits, and oh, he's pretty, and he's cute, and he likes this, and he laughs at my jokes, and vice versa, and he gets my quirky humor or whatever. But in general, these are the character traits, because a wise woman is a woman of virtue, and she's going to look into the man that she's going to marry to have certain virtues that are there. Even if they're not there in full, she knows that they're developing, and he has a desire to develop them as they grow together. And so here in this passage, we see that the wise woman buildeth her house. That's her intent. Her intent is not to get married, even though most young women want to marry their Prince Charming. The intent is for her to build her house. That is her goal. That is, Proverbs 31 is all about her building her house. And the wise woman, her heart will be to build a house, build a home, build a place for herself. The home is her realm. And so she wants to have somebody who will not tear it down with her, or to randomly pick somebody who will tear down this house, but she wants to have that person to be virtuous along with her and to help her in her endeavor to build her house. A woman buildeth her house. Notice there it's her house. She's not going to go out and build the man's house. She wants to build her house, and part of building her house is selecting the correct man. And here in this passage, he that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord. The first thing you want to know, of course, is he saved? Is he a Christian? Is he a follower of Christ? An upright man, a person who follows after the law, somebody who is first and foremost a godly man. And so we see he that walketh in his uprightness. The Bible says how that you should not be unequally yoked. You should not marry an unbeliever. If you are marrying somebody who is ungodly, or basically without God, then you are going to be going two different paths. He has the worldly way of building a house and framing things, and she's never going to know what she's going to get, because he is always, well, this idea seems good, or that idea seems good, and he's just going to be all over the place and picking and choosing what ungodly advice he's going to choose at the time, and when it doesn't work, he's going to jump to some other random thing that she is going to be tossed to and fro with his indecision of ungodly things. And so if he's good and he fears the Lord. Now, somebody just claims to be a Christian is not somebody you want. You want somebody who is afraid of offending the Lord, who fears the Lord, who says, I'm not just a Christian, I just don't follow a God of love, but I fear displeasing God. And so that's the type of man, first and foremost, she wants to look for, is somebody who's godly and fears displeasing God. So he will not do actions that are sinful and evil, because he knows that the wrath from the Lord would be upon him. And so if a woman chooses an ungodly man who does not fear the Lord, like Nabal maybe, then she knows that that man will destroy her house. So first of all, he must be a godly man. But he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. So if you see a man who says, I'm a good man, but I don't really like the God, I'm an atheist, you're going to ruin your house, you're going to ruin your life. The honeymoon period, once it's over and the romance fades, you're going to find out you married an infidel and that he starts beating you. A lot of these people that went and married Muslim men, they found out that, hey, he's more radical than his college-age self actually was, and now he's going to make you wear a burqa, and he's going to beat you, and you're not allowed to be out of the house unless he's with you at every step of the way. Well, Bridget's not out of the house unless I'm with her every step of the way, I guess, but... So what's the difference? But no, I'm just kidding. We're working on that. But anyway... But so we see here that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. So if you see somebody despising the Lord or his law or his ways, even though he claims to be a Christian, avoid him like the plague. Get out of there. Say, Mom, Dad, this guy is not good. I don't want him. He seemed nice, but he doesn't honor the Lord. No way. So first of all, is he godly? Verse 3, in the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve them. Now, not only does he fear the Lord, but you got some of these men, especially Bible college or whatever, they got the big giant family Bible as their personal Bible, and oh, I fear the Lord and everything like this. But then towards every other man out there, they're like looking down upon them. I am better than everybody else. I am so holy, so spiritual. You don't want to marry an ultra spiritual guy. Why? Because he has a mentally deficient view of the world. He thinks he is better than everybody else because of Bible knowledge, or because he fears the Lord, or because of any of these things. So she says, eventually he's going to start not only just looking down on the ungodly, that man is going to start looking down on you as a wife, because you do not measure up to his level of spirituality. You're not as conservative as him. You don't read the Bible as much as him. You don't do all these things as much as him. So the supposed Christian man is somebody you can't obtain to, or that he looks down upon you because you are not at his same spiritual level, quote unquote. So the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride. This is a foolish way for a Christian to live, acting as if they're superior by their knowledge or intellect, or that they're better than their wife. In a marriage, there is no better or worse. They are just you together, one flesh. You know, if you stub your thumb, doesn't mean that thumbs are bad and you're inferior to the rest of your hand. It just means that your thumb hurts and you need to help that thumb. So rather than having a rod of pride where, bad thumb, you're hurting me, I'm going to hurt you now. You know, that's kind of the foolish way that people treat their wives, as in they got this superiority complex towards their wives, and me against my wife isn't up. If your wife isn't up to par, then you don't have a rod of pride beating her down into submission. I'm the man of the house, beat you into submission. That's pride, arrogancy, that's foolish. So the first thing is he a Christian? Second thing, does he treat you as part of himself? As his own body, as his own flesh? Does he treat you that way? Or does he treat you as something separate, something that is owned by him? Or is you're his cattle, you're on the same level as cattle or things that he owns? That's a foolish way of looking at you. You are his flesh, you are his bone, you are his spirit, you are his soul. You are one flesh together. And to man who is perverse, and in this foolishness of rod of pride, this arrogancy, lifting himself up higher than other people, whether it's the lost, or whether it's you as the wife, or the children, or the dog. Obviously we're better than the dog, right? But no, it's just like, rather than treating himself as better than the dog, you treat him as something that is part of your household and therefore deserves your love and care. So just as I would love and care anything in my household, somebody who has pride would treat it as inferior, and so forth. So the love ought to be there. It should be your rather than pride, it should be humility, and it should be love that determines the attitude of the person towards you. So we see, first of all, it has to be a Christian, and it shouldn't be a foolish, prideful man. It should be a humble man. Where no oxen are, the crib is clean. Now this next part here, we often hear, ladies, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? So here in this verse is cautioning the lady. You want to find somebody who's a hard worker, and even though, yes, ladies, you want to have a clean house, you need to have, now obviously you don't want to marry a slob, and that's another issue altogether. You don't want to marry a slob who, that goes with pride, where he thinks that because this is my house and I'm going to be doing my work and I'm going to be doing these things, he again is treating you as something separate. That is speaking towards the pride. A humble man will have, of course, he needs a spot to do his work. And you can't go in there and say, hey, the garage is this mess, and I want it spick and span and everything in its place and everything polished. When the way this works is that where the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. You want to have a place where he can be industrious, and you want a man that's industrious. You don't want just a man that is that the house is so spick and span because he's so lazy and doesn't do anything to mess it up. But when work is being done, you should expect a little bit of clutter. The way we did it at work was during the busy time, we would not say, like when I worked as a manager at Dynamo's, when we had 10 people coming in for pizzas or whatever, or it was the rush hour, all at once, we want to say, hold on, people, customers, we got to clean this area first. You ever see that? It's like there's 10 customers out there. I can't serve you guys because I got to go and wash some dishes. No, you don't say that, right? What do? You say, I'm going to serve these people first, then when the time is not busy, I'm going to go clean. So the verse is not saying, don't worry about cleanliness. What it's saying is that when there's industry or when there's work to be done, expect a little bit of clutter along the way, and then when everything is done, then you can clean. It's better to have a dirty garage for a little while work is being done, than to have it so spick and span because you have no cars, have no work, have nothing to do. And that's what it's doing here, especially is like if you want to clean oxen stall, but you don't have any oxen, it's pointless. In other words, first of all, you want a man who is a Christian. Second of all, you want a man that is humble and not prideful towards others. And then you want an industrious man who, while maybe a little bit of clutter, is more productive than he is clutterful, is because he's been industrious. So if his clutter is from being industrious, then it can be excused. But if it's not from industry, this other side of this verse is that if it's not because of industry and the guy's just a slob, don't marry the slob, marry the industrious man. And that's what the verse is saying. So if your house is dirty because the guy is not being industrious and he's home all the time, and don't marry that type of guy. Marry the guy who's industrious and your house is a little bit messy because of his busyness and his industriousness and his finances. So marry a man who is industrious. And then verse 5, a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. You don't want to marry a liar. Now, obviously, you see some people that, for all intents and purposes, they seem to be good people. They're Christians, they're humble, and they're industrious. But whenever they make a mistake or they fall short, rather than owning up to it, all of a sudden this nice, humble man becomes a liar. Oh, I never do anything bad. I would never. Why? Because he's afraid of getting caught, Yes, he fears the Lord, but he also fears everybody else so much that he's willing to be a liar. So this next part here, we got 1, be a Christian, humble, industrious, not a liar. So number 4, don't marry a liar. When his feet are held to the fire, he will tell the truth even to his hurt. So it says here, a faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. And so whenever there's something like the guy gets stopped at the speed, for a speeding ticket. Oh, I wasn't speeding. No, I didn't do that. It was actually the cop's fault. Or blame, and excuse, lie. No. If you see somebody who is, whenever they're in trouble, they get out of it by lying, then what are they lying to you about as a wife, as a girlfriend? That's why you got number 4, you want to avoid liars when you're looking for somebody to build your house, because you never know. Did you pay that bill? Oh, yes, dear. Lights turn off. Did you pay that bill? Oh, yes, dear. Water shut off. It's lie. Have you been going to work? Oh, yes, dear. Oh, he lost his job 2 weeks ago. It's like, can we afford that? Oh, yes, we can afford that, Mercedes or whatever. Lie, oh, did you run over the neighbor's dog? No, I didn't do that. Lie. It's just like even little things, habitual. You want to watch out for somebody. Whenever their feet is held to the fire and they had to witness something or they testify about something, they're always faithfully true. And they give a faithful witness. You can trust them. What they say is true. And then 6, a scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not, but knowledge is easy to him that understandeth. This is where, ladies, you got to watch out for conspiracy theorists. People who are always seeking after the truth but can never really quite find it. Oh, those politicians, they got to be doing something secret. I was reading on QAnon that there's some mysterious thing that's happening over there, and Area 54 or whatever is actually 52, and everything is about conspiracies or some truth that is just out of reach. They're always researching some sort of thing. They might be good in other areas and such, and they're not a liar and they're truthful, but they get caught up in all this half-truths and I don't really know what this is or anything like that. You got to watch out for somebody who is so focused on scorn, looking at things, I don't know if that's true, I don't know if that's true, I don't know if that's true, that they can never find a truth. You know, you want to have somebody who's not caught up in half-truths or mystery or intrigue. He's just, if he wants to learn something, he learns it and he goes on with his life. You know, and if he can't learn something, he moves on to something more important. You know, to waste their time on that. So when you're looking for a man, don't look for somebody who's a scorner. Somebody who is always scoffing at the politicians and always scoffing at the news, and always scoffing at the truth of this, that, or the other thing. Just don't waste your time with it, because you'll never know that he'll start turning his scornful attitude towards you as a woman, and you'll never be able to get anything done at your house. Because that conspiracy mindset, that half-truth mindset, and well, I don't, you know, this is also with people with inferiority complexes, where I don't know if my wife is really being faithful while I'm at home, and she's throwing all these parties. They're just imagining some crazy thing, and then you try to tell him the truth, and he won't believe the truth, and you never given him a reason to feel like he didn't. Like, it's kind of the opposite of where a faithful witness and a scoffer is somebody who's on the opposite end of that, to where they think you're lying and that you don't know if they're lying, and it's just kind of like there's never this security of truth. It's always about scoffers or half-truths or just the truth never out of reach. A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not. He's always looking for the truth. Or, you know, the get-rich-quick guy who's always trying to find the right scheme to make money. When the truth is that biblically for 6,000 years, the Bible's told us how to make money consistently and truthfully and honestly. But this guy's always searching for that wisdom that will get him the buku box, the lottery numbers, the scheme or the trade or the you know the numbers or the system that will get them money faster. That's another type of truth. People are always after these pie in the sky things. That's half truths as well. There's also a scoffer who says, well, good and honest work isn't the best way to just work a job, get clients, and provide a good service and provide a good product. I don't want to do all that. I want to find this pie in the sky wisdom somewhere. That's the same level of conspiracy theory. One seeking out conspiracies here and there and everywhere, and then on the converse of that, they're seeking that there's some sort of wisdom out there that will suddenly make them ultra rich beyond what is common. See how that works? A scoffer. Seeking, ever seeking, never obtaining. But knowledge is easy to him that understandeth. You want to have somebody who is just going to, if he wants to be a mechanic, he's going to grab a mechanic's book and he's going to open it and he's going to read it and he's going to learn it and he's going to apply it. That's the same way with anything in business. If you want to be a manager, you're going to get a manager's book, you're going to open it, you're going to read it, you're going to apply it. You want to be a Christian, you're going to get a Bible, you're going to open it, you're going to read it, you're going to apply it. There's no pie in the sky, give me intelligence quick, secret knowledge. The Gnostics always tried to be secret knowledge this, secret knowledge that. The systematic theologies tried to quick start your theologies to try to, well, I didn't read the Bible once in my life, but I've read this systematic theology book 10 times. No, well, good for you. You know, how about reading the Bible 10 times and maybe the systematic theology book once or something, you know? Have a better balance. Like Spurgeon said, live in the Bible, but visit other good books. You know, so nothing wrong against those good books, but if you live in the books and you never read the source material, you'll never get anywhere in life. Same way it is with any sort of knowledge. It's easy for him that understandeth. If you understand that if you want to be a mechanic, you get a mechanic book. If you want, all the knowledge you ever need to get any sort of job, any sort of business is in a book somewhere, and you just open it, you learn it, you apply it. And it's very simple, it's very easy, and it requires hard work. And that's the type of person you want in a man, is that they will find the book and they'll read it. And somebody who's like, every once in a while you get he got a project and he doesn't want to read the instructions, well, we'll forgive him a little bit. But he really ought to be somebody who says, I want to build this cabinet, I'm going to open the book, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to apply it. And so that's the type of man you want to have. So he says, and then this 7 is, go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. If he's always talking about fiction this and my idea is that or anything, but he has no intelligence, he has no knowledge because he never opened a book to read it, to look into it, to find out, and you try to talk to him about something and he has no idea. He's just, for lack of a better word, stupid. And he has no intent on getting smart. And he has no intent of, oh, you're interested in this thing? My wife is interested in certain things that I have no real interest in, or I have a passing interest in it, but I don't really want to apply myself. But I've learned a little bit just because she's my wife. I've learned a little bit about knitting. I've learned a little bit about piano playing. Not enough to actually do them, but I have some intelligence, and so forth. But this one is where you want to marry a man who has knowledge, somebody who loves knowledge and enjoys knowledge. He's not about, and when I'm talking about knowledge, it's something that's useful, not just somebody who's only caught up in sports and only with stats and only with vain things. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby. But you want to have somebody with some knowledge in them, that they love knowledge for knowledge's sake, to learn something for learning's sake, to be able to look at a machine, and because they already know about compression and explosions and fuel and electricity, they can look at a machine, never seen that machine before, but because they know fundamentals of knowledge and basic understanding, they can know how that machine works. They can automatically say, hey, here's a control box, here's the buttons, here's the manual, here's there's the plug-in, and they can look at that thing, and because they've been familiar with other machines, they know how that thing works. That's knowledge. You don't want to. You want somebody with knowledge, and if you see somebody who's just dumb, leave that guy. If he hasn't learned anything by the time he's of marrying age, then he's not going to learn anything when you get married to him. He's not going to know how to build a house. He's not going to be handy around a house. And literally, the guy can't build a house, and you want a man who can help you build a house, it's not going to be effective for you. You just cut your losses and leave him right there. Don't even worry about, if he can get some knowledge in himself, then maybe you'll revisit him, but just leave him. It's not worth your time, ladies, to try to deal with a man who refuses to learn. You just see those type of people that I've had some of those people at work, is where they put more effort in not learning something than it would take just to learn it. You mean I hit the red button for the gate to go down and the green button for the gate to go up? I don't know. It's okay, come on. But what if this is, and then it's like, come on, it's knowledge. Fire the guy, get rid of him. So go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest in him the lips of the lips of knowledge. And then going on, wisdom is of the prudent. The wisdom of the prudent. Prudent means you're considering carefully your way. Wisdom of the prudent. If you're building your house, you want to have somebody who has knowledge and is prudent in how he applies it, is careful. When instead of reacting to something, he responds to something. Oh, you want to do this with the house? Oh, you want to do this with your life? These are your goals? Let me consider that. Is that something I want to go on my path? So if you're out on a date, for example, and the man, you say, I want to do this with my life, and he's like, nah, I like you well enough, and I think you should be my wife, but we're going to go and do this. Yeah, no. If you have a plan for your life, and the guy just brushes it off, if he doesn't care about the big things in your life, he's not going to care about the little things in your life. Or he's going to try to manipulate you so much. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way. If I marry you, then that means this will have to happen, that will have to happen, and I'm not willing to make that commitment. Okay, now we'll find somebody who can. There's a commitment to be made. Now, and it may seem hard. It's like, oh, you're getting rid of good men. No, you're getting rid of people that you got to walk together. How can two walk together except they be agreed? And so if your big vision for the way that you're going to go in life is different than his, see, this one you want to be walking the same path. But folly is to fools is deceit. Oh yes, I'll give you the moon. I'll do all these things for you. I'll do all this. Yes, I'll go that way. And then you marry the guy, and he deceived you. He deceived you. So you want to make sure that somebody that you're marrying, even if they have all these other traits, that they are going on the same path, and they're going to build the same style of house that you want to build. You got to have the same goal in life. And then 9, fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. And this one you want to be careful of too, is that you can get somebody who's a Christian, he's humble, and he's industrious, he's faithful witness, he doesn't scorn, he got knowledge and understanding, and he applies himself, and he carefully understands his way. He's not a deceitful man, but he's always making fun of those people who fall short. Well, they never completed their plans, but I'm going to complete mine. Well, and then it's just always like he's comparing himself to other people and their plans and their life. Well, I don't know why they're doing that. Well, you got to be watching out for people who make a mock at sin. That remember, sin is falling short of the ideal. Times in your lives, you want to go a certain direction. You want to do a certain thing in life, and you got one type of person, as long as everything is going good, they are the most ideal, perfect person. But anytime any little thing changes, they just fall apart. Oh, he's faithful, he's honest, he's true, he's a Boy Scout, and all these different things, but then you're 5 minutes late, or you took a wrong turn, or you made a mistake, and they're like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do, our whole plans are falling apart. No, he may not be, and it's just kind of, he makes a mock. It's like, oh, you made that bad mistake. I would have never made that mistake. He's just making fun of people who fall short, making a mock of sin. And then on the converse side of that is that people who, obviously you have people that fear the Lord, but people that are always straddling the line. Well, I know that if I step over the line, that God's going to punish me, but I'm going to be as close as possible as I can get to it. You don't want the line straddlers. Making a mock at sin is that I'm not sinning. You ever see the boys and girls? I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Mom, he's touching me. I'm not touching her. It's just like it's just getting that they never quite do anything wrong. This is where it's like kind of a little bit of catch-all for you, ladies, is that they never quite do anything wrong, and you can. This is kind of where your narcissists kind of fall. So where they seem to be the perfect person, they seem to not be deceptive, but they're always just quite on the other edge of not quite sinning, but they are really like wanting to or acting like they're going to, or they're gaslighting you or anything like that, is where they always see how far they can get to just push your buttons. You don't want that type of guy to play games with you and mess with you and all that stuff. You don't want a mocker. You want somebody who is serious about sin and falling short. Okay, we failed in this area. Our 401k didn't quite do well. Our stock market went bust. We lost all of our money. But here's how we're going to get out of this. We're not going to laugh at people who failed short of their goals. And we're not going to laugh at our goals. We're going to get out of it this way. So once you sin, are you going to work on getting it out? And so failure, not people that make fun of it, failure, but rather that they are going to work out of it. So among the righteous there is favor. So even though you fail, you don't laugh at it, you don't make a mock of it, you treat it seriously, and then you do it, you take care of it in an upright way. In a serious, upright way, that you take care of that sin. You're not making fun of people. You're not mocking people in sin, but you are working hard to get it out. And then finally it says, the house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. So you have on one end, a list of traits. Is he a Christian? Is he humble? Is he industrious? Is he faithful? Does he just take knowledge, learn from it, and apply it? Applicable, I guess would be the right word, applicable. Does he have knowledge in what he wants to do in life? And is he careful of the ways that he goes? And then it says, and then he is serious, he is righteous when he fails. So how does he handle failure, that sin? Does he laugh it off, or does he take it seriously and fix the issue? And then verse 10, the heart knoweth his own bitterness, but a stranger doth not intermeddle with his joy. And this one, we think about this, a heart knoweth his own bitterness. You want to have somebody, the final thing you want to look at, he might have all these wonderful traits, but if he doesn't care to know your pains, this is where it gets down to the meat of things, is to become one flesh, is to know each other's pains and sufferings, and to know people's desires. You can get all the way down to this list, ladies, in a man, and then if he doesn't know your pain, if he doesn't know your heart, then it's not going to be worth the journey with that man. If he can't perceive or understand your way, why aren't you like me? I try to do my best for you. You do all these things, and he doesn't know your pain. Or he doesn't even care to know your pain. He doesn't care. The house, it says, the heart knoweth his own bitterness. So his own bitterness is your bitterness, the pain of life. And a stranger doth not intermeddle with his joy. You're happy with something. Look what happened with me today, honey. Oh, I don't care. I'm busy. I just got off work. I don't care, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired. Give me my shoes. Give me my dinner. You don't want to know what happened with me today? He doesn't want to intermeddle. He doesn't want to make a connection. See, at the end of the day, you're living this life together. Yes, the man goes out and has his adventure and grabs the world by the horns and does this industrious thing in your home, tending to the family, tending to the home, and building things at home and making it strong here. And then when he gets back together, there needs to be a joining together of pain and joy. This coming together is that when you're finally whole again, the absence makes the heart grow fonder. The bitterness of separation. I always joke when my wife goes out somewhere by herself that me and the dog are going to be rocking back and forth in the corner with the lights off. It's like, oh, I wonder when she's going to be back. My pain. It's like when there's separation. If there's no pain when there's separation, and when she's gone for a week or two, and then we come back, we're like, we're glad to be home. We're glad to be together. We don't do anything overly special together, but to be together. And when we're together, we feel whole. And that's, and oftentimes she says, I was having a great day until you came back, and then my pain came back. So my bitterness came back. So sometimes, it's a release, but it's still her pain. Just kidding there, but sometimes that's the way it is. But the meaning is still there. At the end of the day, when you come back together, are you sharing in the same pain? Are you intermingling your joy? Are you mixed together? You've been separated for who knows, an hour, 2 days, a work trip, a vacation, and when you come back together, Is there joy? Is there bitterness? Is there sharing? Is there communion? There is ultimately, at the end of the day, if you don't know this man and he seems like a stranger, he might be the best person ever, but you're just kind of like a roommate, it ain't going to work. You got to be one flesh. You got to be intermeddled in joy and in bitterness and in pain and suffering when you guys are separated. That's what love and joy is all about, is that you become one flesh, not just one people sharing a room, not people on the same goals, but life. One's the boss and the other's the assistant boss, and they're running this family and there's a business, and it's just a business transaction with no intermiddling of joy or bitterness. At the end of the day, all these traits don't matter anything if you can't be one with each other. So that's the question, ladies, that what type of man do you want to build a house with? Well, there's a lot of different men out there. There's a lot of different character traits. And these are kind of the main ones here, and we're going to be looking at a few more later. But this is kind of like if you have somebody who is wrestling against these ones here in these first 11 verses, then they're wicked. Now remember, wicked does not necessarily mean that they're an evil person, but rather they are wrestling against these character traits. They're not trying to emulate these character traits. They're trying to be something different than these character traits. Then your house will be destroyed. The house of the wicked, the people who are wrestling against these character traits, will be overthrown. It won't be a strong house. There will be a weakness there. But the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. Notice it's the house versus a tabernacle, a tent. Even if you're a poor house or a poor tent, the upright shall flourish. Even if you start out in a tent. You ever see the story about the two people? They start in they get married and they go off to their studio apartment because they can't afford the vacation, and they got $1,000 from their parents or friends and family from the wedding. That was like the justice of the peace and two witnesses and the two parents from the families. And then it's very small and very poor, and they have the studio apartment. They have nothing of their own, but they have each other. That house will flourish, because they have these traits and they are one with each other, even though they have nothing else. That house will flourish, but the wicked will be overthrown. So ladies, even if he can't provide you everything at once, if he has these character traits, you both will flourish and you'll be happy and you'll have joy, even through the bitterness. So consider this. What type of man do you have? And us that are married, hopefully we have a man that is portray these traits. She's going to give me a checklist when I get home, so we'll find out. It's like, okay, dear, these are the things you're going to have to work on. But it is something that all men ought to try to measure up for this, because she, a wise, virtuous woman building her house, we ought to lead it to where it can be strong and flourishing. So consider what type of men you are. Consider what type of man you want. Let's pray. Dearly Father, thank you for this passage given to us, Lord, the opportunity to consider your words here in this passage about the ideal man, just as we have the ideal woman in Psalm 31. We have the ideal character traits that a woman needs to look for in a man, and help us to be that type of man, to measure up for her. Just I pray. Amen.